Yo, Dispatch is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 with 60 frames per second and higher resolution, but that alone doesn't automatically make it the best way to play. Now, if you're trying to decide whether Dispatch is worth buying on Switch 2, whether you should stick with PlayStation 5 or whether you should wait altogether, the aim of this video is to help you make the right call before you spend your money. Now, Dispatch originally launched on PC and PlayStation 5 back in October, where it sold over 2 million copies in its first month and quickly became one of the most well-received narrative games of 2025. Now, with Dispatch launching on both Nintendo Switch and Switch 2 at the end of January 2026, there's a new question buyers need to answer. Is the Switch 2 version actually worth it? Now, let's start with what we know about the Switch 2 version. On Switch 2, Dispatch will target up to 60 frames per second with a 1440p resolution, which is a noticeable step up compared to the original Switch version running at 30 frames per second and a 720p. Pricing is also straightforward. The standard edition is currently listed at £24.99, but currently there is a 10% discount if you do purchase a game before its release date, bringing it down to £22.49. In terms of the digital deluxe edition, that is currently listed at £33.50, and yet again the same 10% discount applies if you do purchase it early, bringing it down to £30.15. In terms of content-wise, this is the full Dispatch experience, the same story, the same characters, the same choices, just delivered on a portable system with enhanced performance on Switch 2. So on paper, the Switch 2 version sounds solid, but specs alone don't tell you whether it's the right version for you. So I guess a question to answer is, who should buy Dispatch on Switch 2? For me, Dispatch on Switch 2 makes the most sense for a very specific type of player. If you enjoy episodic, story-driven games and you like the idea of playing in short sessions, maybe on the couch, in bed, or while traveling, the Switch 2 version is definitely a natural fit. Dispatch already feels like an interactive TV series with dialogue-heavy scenes, character choices, and cliffhanger moments. Playing it handheld actually complements that structure surprisingly well. Now, if you missed Dispatch on PlayStation 5 and were waiting for a portable option, Switch 2 is arguably the most convenient way to experience it. Yes, obviously you've got people who've got the PlayStation Portal who could potentially still experience it that way, but me personally have always enjoyed the portable factor of the Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2. And me personally, I also find it's definitely a strong choice if you value flexibility more than raw power, being able to switch between docked and handheld play without sacrificing smooth performance. In short, if convenience, portability, and narrative pacing matters more to you than absolute visual fidelity, Dispatch on Switch 2 is a very, very good buy. With all that being said, Dispatch on Switch 2 is not for everyone. If you already own Dispatch on PlayStation 5 and were satisfied with the experience, there's very little reason to double dip unless portability is extremely important to you. And as I said, there's obviously PlayStation 5 owners who potentially also own the PlayStation Portable, so obviously that need would be satisfied in that regard. I would also say you should also pause if you're particularly sensitive to presentation differences. While the Switch 2 version runs really well, it's still not going to match the overall consistency of the PlayStation 5 version across all scenarios. There is also some open questions around content presentation. Some early listings have shown altered artwork for the Nintendo version, raising concerns around potential censorship. At the moment, there's no confirmed evidence that the gameplay itself is censored, but if that's the kind of thing that definitely matters to you, waiting for post-launch confirmation is certainly the safer move. So in my opinion, if you care deeply about presentation parity or already own the game elsewhere, waiting may be the better decision. Another thing worth addressing is the ongoing debate around frame rate and resolution for a game like Dispatch. Dispatch is not a fast-paced action game, it's a narrative-focused experience built around dialogue, choices, and strategy moments. For many players, consistent performance matters more than pushing technical limits. In that sense, a stable 60 frames per second experience on Switch 2 is more than enough for the kind of game Dispatch is. If you're expecting cutting-edge visuals, Dispatch was never really designed to be that. It succeeds because of writing, voice acting, and decision making, not because of graphical spectacle. So $1 million question, is Dispatch worth buying on Nintendo Switch 2? I would argue yes if you want portable, flexible ways to experience one of the best narrative games of the past year, and I would say no if you already own it on PlayStation 5 or want absolute certainty around presentation and content. If you're on the fence, the smartest move is to wait for launch day impressions and confirm how the Switch 2 version holds up in real real world play. Either way, Dispatch remains a strong game. The only real question is, where should you play it? If you want a full breakdown of which Dispatch edition is worth buying, I've already covered that in a separate video, and I'll be also comparing the PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 version once the game launches. Anyway peeps, thanks for taking the time out for watching this video, and if this helped you make a decision, let me know in the comments below. If you did enjoy this very quick urban gameplay video, be sure to hit the like button, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so before, and until next video, we definitely say peace out peeps.